Have you ever let a single passing comment ruin your entire day? Just one expression on someone's face, a message that was seen but not replied to, a careless sentence that accidentally touched a tender part of your heart. And suddenly, your mind begins to spiral. We overthink. Did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? Do they look down on me? The more we think, the smaller and more fragile we feel, as if our self-worth is placed in someone else's hands. But the truth is that pain does not come from the outside world. It comes from the story our mind creates. We do not simply hear words. We turn them into arrows aimed straight at our hearts. We interpret everything through our own emotions, and then believe those interpretations are reality. It is this personalizing that exhausts us and steals our peace. In the teachings of the Buddha, the root of suffering lies in attachment and misunderstanding within the mind. And in this video, we are going to explore 5 Buddhist practices to help you stop taking everything personally, so that no one and nothing can easily shake your inner peace again. When you learn to protect the calmness inside you, your life begins to transform from that very moment. Lesson 1. It's not always about you. There is a truth that, once understood, will make your heart much lighter. Most of what others say or do is not really about you at all. Every person is living inside their own inner world, filled with worries, fears, and wounds that have existed within them for a very long time. When someone becomes irritated, raises their voice, or says something that hurts you, your mind immediately turns the blame toward yourself. I must have done something wrong. I am not important enough. They no longer respect me. But sometimes the story is not that at all. Imagine someone who is overwhelmed with work, struggling to keep themselves together but barely able to breathe. A simple question from you may become the last drop that overflows their patience, causing them to lose control. The harsh words they say in that moment are filled with their own stress, not a judgment of your worth. Or think of someone who has been betrayed before, who now sees every gesture of care as a threat. Someone who fears being looked down upon may pretend to be strong by putting others down. Their attitude and behavior are reflections of their own unhealed pain. In Buddhist teachings, every person sees the world through the lens of their karma and past experiences. What they see is not objective truth, but a version of reality colored by emotions and personal wounds. So when someone reacts negatively toward you, it is very likely that they are seeing you through the filter of their own fear. What causes us pain is not their words, but our belief that those words define our value. Here is a simple practice you can begin right now. Whenever your heart feels heavy because of someone's behavior, ask yourself, is this truly about me? Is this the truth? Or is it just my mind creating its own story? Might this person be struggling with a hidden pain I cannot see? Just one moment of awareness can stop the hurtful narrative from taking over. When you stop personalizing everything, you stop carrying burdens that were never yours. You refuse to inherit the negative energy that does not belong to you. You understand that you are not the target of every emotional storm, and step by step, you return to the peaceful space within yourself, where your mind is guided not by fear and assumption, but by clarity and compassion. Lesson 2. The story the mind creates. Have you ever noticed that most of our sadness does not come from what actually happens, but from the story our mind tells about what happens? A completely neutral moment, like someone walking past without looking at you, or a message left unanswered for a little while, can suddenly turn into emotional chaos. Within seconds, the mind begins to work endlessly. Are they upset with me? Did I say something wrong? Do they think I am not worth their time? And just like that, from a perfectly neutral silence, the mind creates a painful and dramatic story. In Buddhist teachings, the mind is compared to a tireless storyteller. It constantly searches for reasons to protect itself from being hurt. So it digs into old memories, moments of being abandoned, misunderstood, or belittled, and uses them to build a storyline that seems believable. But the problem is, that storyline is not the truth. It is merely a projection of fears that have not yet been healed. A neutral look does not always mean rejection. Silence does not always mean someone is pulling away. Yet the mind is quick to assume the worst, making us suffer long before anything real has actually happened. The Buddha taught that what truly hurts us is not the first arrow that strikes us, but the second arrow we shoot at ourselves. The first arrow is the event. The second arrow is the story we attach to it. Here is a simple but life-changing practice. Whenever a negative thought appears, gently tell yourself, "This is only a thought, not the truth." Take one small step back and observe it instead of chasing after it. The mind is sad. The mind is afraid. The mind is judging. But you are not any of those things. You are the one who is watching them with awareness. There is a saying, "The greatest prison is the one we build with our own thoughts." The moment you realize that the door was never locked, you have already begun to set yourself free. When you stop believing every story the mind creates, you stop being dragged into dark places filled with doubt and fear. You return to the present moment where truth is simple and peace is always waiting for you to notice it. Lesson 3. The power of non-reaction. How many times have you felt the urge to react immediately when someone offends you or says something hurtful? The mind insists that you must respond right away to defend yourself. Yet in that very moment of reaction, you hand over the control of your peace to another person. The Buddha once taught a beautifully simple yet profoundly wise story. A man approached him with anger, insulting him, and trying to provoke a reaction. The Buddha stood calmly, simply observing without responding. Finally, the man demanded, "Why are you not reacting?" The Buddha gently replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man answered, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha smiled and said, "And so it is with your anger. I do not accept it. It remains with you." The lesson is crystal clear. When you choose not to react, you refuse to receive the negative energy someone is trying to give you. You protect your inner space from being stained by the emotional storm they are carrying. In Buddhist practice, the ability to pause instead of reacting is the true power of mindfulness. Because only with awareness can you see that between stimulus and response, there is always a sacred space. And in that space, you have the freedom to choose peace over conflict. Remember these 3 simple steps. Pause. Take a deep breath. Observe what is happening inside you. Recognizing an emotion does not mean you must obey it. Anger is arising, but it is just anger. Your breath anchors you in the midst of the waves of emotion, so you are not swept away by them. Imagine that you are a great mountain. No matter how strong the wind blows or how loud the storm roars, the mountain remains steady and silent. It does not try to resist the wind, but the wind cannot shake it either. When you become the mountain within yourself, every insult becomes only passing wind. It comes and goes, while you remain grounded and at peace. Non-reaction is not weakness. It is the expression of deep inner strength. Only those who possess true self-mastery can choose peace over drama. Each time you choose mindful silence, you are protecting your heart from wounds that are not worth receiving. And little by little, you become someone who cannot be easily shaken by anyone's words or actions anymore. Lesson 4. Let go of the identity you are defending. Have you noticed that what hurts us in other people's words is not the words themselves, but the part of our identity that those words seem to threaten? When someone tells you that you are not good enough, not kind enough, or not worthy, it is not your body that trembles, but the ego inside you, terrified of being shattered. The mind instantly builds a wall of defense. We react strongly to prove that we are not what they say. Yet that very fear shows how tightly we are clinging to the image of ourselves we want others to accept. In Buddhist teachings, there is a profound wisdom called anatta, or non-self. There is no fixed identity we must protect. Human beings are constantly changing, moment by moment. Today you may feel confident, tomorrow you may feel vulnerable. What you believe to be your identity is only a collection of memories, thoughts, and passing emotions. The ego you are afraid of losing is not truth. It is simply a temporary idea the mind holds on to. Think about this. If you do not attach yourself to any specific image of who you think you are, then who exactly is being insulted? If there is no self to defend, where can criticism land? It simply floats in the air and dissolves. When you understand that you are not a label or a judgment from someone else, you are no longer trapped in the need to prove or to deny. You become free. The Buddha taught that what truly causes suffering is not what others say, but our identification with those words. When someone calls you selfish, instead of reacting, you can gently ask yourself, is there truth in this about my actions? If yes, it is an opportunity to learn and grow. If no, simply let it go, because it says nothing about who you truly are. It only reveals the lens through which that person sees the world. When you release the need to defend yourself against every judgment, your heart becomes wide like the sky. Clouds may come and go, but the sky remains vast and untouched by them. In that space, both criticism and praise lose their power to control your emotions. You live rooted in your inner truth, no longer shaken by the noise outside. And from that lightness, a new strength arises. It is the strength of walking with a free heart, unafraid of being judged, and no longer needing approval to feel worthy. That is when you truly begin to live in peace, a peace that no one can ever take away. Lesson 5. Respond with compassion, not ego. When someone attacks you, the mind's natural reaction is to fight back or to shrink in hurt. The ego immediately rises and screams, I must be respected. I cannot let them treat me this way. But the truth is that the person who speaks hurtful words is often carrying a heavy pain within themselves that they do not know how to express or heal. A peaceful heart does not harm others. Only a heart that is suffering throws arrows of anger and doubt. In Buddhist teachings, compassion is known as awakened love. It is not weakness, and it is not blind tolerance. It is the ability to look beyond the surface of someone's behavior and see the hidden pain inside them. When someone speaks harshly to you, you can pause and remind yourself, this person must be exhausted. Perhaps they have endured a lot of injustice and are now repeating what they once went through. This understanding helps you no longer see them as an enemy, but as someone in need of healing. Here is a simple mantra you can silently practice within your heart whenever you feel triggered. May you be free from suffering. May you find peace. You do not need to say these words out loud. Just holding this intention in your heart creates a soft, yet powerful shield that protects your inner peace from being poisoned by another's anger. Because when you respond with love instead of hatred, you refuse to continue the chain of suffering. Not reflecting back negative energy means you do not sacrifice your peace just because someone else has lost theirs. In fact, you elevate the energy of the entire moment. You interrupt the cycle of anger and retaliation, and through that interruption, a new doorway opens where understanding and compassion can begin to grow. When you truly look at others with empathy and wisdom, you realize that no one is your true enemy. We are all human beings learning how to love better, learning how to heal from what life has done to us. And only when you step away from the battlefield of the ego can you be free enough to live as your truest self. Real peace begins in that very moment. When you choose to see others with an open heart, you are also clearing the path for happiness to enter your own life. In the end, the most important thing to remember is that peace does not come when people around you become kinder or when life becomes easier. Peace comes when you stop taking everything personally, when you understand that what others say reflects them far more than it reflects you, when you stop believing every story your mind creates, when you choose calm silence over reacting in anger, when you no longer exhaust yourself trying to defend your ego, and when you look at those who hurt you as people silently crying out for help. You do not need to change anyone. You only need to change how you see and how you respond. Every situation in life becomes lighter when your heart is placed in the right position, the position of awareness and compassion. Become the guardian of your inner peace, because no one else can protect it for you. If these teachings have brought you clarity or even a small sense of relief, I invite you to continue this journey with me. Please subscribe so that together we can keep nurturing wisdom, healing old wounds, and living with a calmer and more awakened heart each day. You deserve that peace, and you have already taken the first step on the path back home to yourself.